The room went silent. Every executive head turned toward the conference table as the company lawyer slid a sealed envelope across the polished wood. My boss, Ethan Kessler, smirked like he owned the world. He leaned back in his chair, the CEO chair, the one he loved rubbing in everyone's face. "You can open it now," the lawyer said. Ethan's eyes flicked toward me like I was gum stuck under his shoe. "Why is the janitor still here?" The board members laughed politely. I stood near the wall, still holding the mop handle I'd been forced to use 10 minutes earlier. Not because I was lazy, not because I was incompetent, because Ethan loved humiliation. His favorite game was making me clean the floors after meetings, right in front of people who wore suits worth more than my monthly rent. He'd introduced me as Liam Parker, our facility assistant, like that was all I was. I kept my face calm, quiet, blank. Inside, something burned. The lawyer cleared his throat. "Mr. Kessler, this envelope contains the ownership transfer documentation prepared by the late Mr. Arthur Kessler." Arthur Kessler, founder of Kessler Dynamics, Ethan's father, the man whose portrait hung in every hallway like a god watching his kingdom. Ethan rolled his eyes. "More sentimental nonsense. Dad's been dead 3 months. The company is mine." The lawyer's voice sharpened. "Arthur Kessler insisted this be opened publicly, only during a board session with all required witnesses present." Ethan snatched the envelope and tore it like he was killing a bug. Paper slid out. A thick contract, a notarized addendum, in a single handwritten letter. Ethan skimmed it fast, then froze. For the first time in years, the great Ethan Kessler looked confused. His mouth opened, closed. The CFO leaned forward. "Ethan, what does it say?" Ethan's eyes snapped up, wild and angry. "You did this," he hissed, at me. I didn't blink. Because the truth was, I already seen those papers months ago, in secret, in a folder I kept backed up 3 ways, email chain screenshots, scanned PDFs, and a recorded phone call where Arthur Kessler told me exactly what to do. Ethan slammed the contract down. "This is fake." The lawyer stood. "It is not fake." Ethan's voice rose. "I'm the CEO. I'm the bloodline. I'm the son." The lawyer pointed at the signature page. "And yet, the new owner is listed here as—" I felt my heart stop. The lawyer's finger landed on a name. Mine. Liam Parker. The room erupted. Ethan staggered back like he'd been shot. "No, this is impossible." Then the lawyer opened the handwritten letter and read the first line out loud. "To the board, my son is not who you think he is." And Ethan lunged for the letter. Ethan didn't just try to snatch the letter. He tried to destroy it. But the lawyer yanked it away, stepping behind the CFO. 2 board members stood instinctively, blocking Ethan like he was a threat. Because in that moment, he was. Still, Ethan forced a laugh, a shaky, ugly laugh. "Is this a joke? A sick joke? Who even is Liam Parker?" The answer sat in every humiliation he'd ever handed me. I was the guy people ignored, the guy who took out trash, the guy who wiped coffee spills after executives argued about million-dollar deals, and the guy Ethan made scrub floors while he watched, smiling like he was breaking me into pieces. I remembered the first day. Ethan had walked into the building, wearing black, fresh from his father's funeral, and announced, "I'm taking over." He didn't look at me once. But later, I found Arthur Kessler's private office door open. The light was on, papers spread out like someone had been searching, and Arthur's assistant, older, trembling, whispered to me, "He left something for you." For me? I didn't understand. I thought it was a mistake. But then I opened the folder. Arthur Kessler had written my name repeatedly in his personal notes. Next to it, He's the only one with integrity. That same week, Ethan promoted his buddy into operations director, fired 3 senior engineers, cut janitorial hours. And when he saw me in the hallway, he smiled. "Congratulations, Liam," he said loudly. "You're now cleaning floors after meetings, not before." Everyone laughed. I wanted to disappear, but I stayed quiet because I was already collecting proof. Every cruel email, every HR threat, every time Ethan ordered illegal cost cuts and shady transfers. I wasn't just cleaning floors. I was listening, and I was recording. Now, in the boardroom, Ethan pointed at me like I was a disease. "This nobody can't own my company." The lawyer turned to the board. Arthur Kessler prepared a contingency plan. He feared fraud. He feared betrayal. Ethan snapped, "My father feared nothing." The lawyer's eyes went cold. "He feared you." Silence cracked the air. Ethan's face turned red. "Read the letter." The lawyer raised it and read slowly. "My son Ethan is not my biological child. DNA confirmed it. He is the product of Marion Kessler's affair. He has no legal right to inherit my company." The CFO's pen dropped. The board chair stood. "Are you saying Ethan isn't—" Ethan screamed, "Stop!" But the lawyer continued, "I am leaving Kessler Dynamics to the only person who protected this company when my own family tried to steal it." He looked straight at me. "Liam Parker." Ethan's eyes filled with hate. Then he whispered something that made my stomach turn. "I know where your mother lives." The next morning, my life collapsed in a single email. Subject line: termination immediate. Sent company-wide. Ethan didn't just fire me, he humiliated me publicly, writing, "Liam Parker has been caught forging legal documents and stealing confidential files. Security will escort him out. Any contact with him will be considered a breach of policy." My hands didn't shake, but my chest tightened like a vice, because I knew Ethan wasn't done. I walked into the lobby and saw 2 security guards waiting. Not the usual guys. These were outsiders, private muscle, Ethan's new kind of loyalty. One grabbed my arm. "You're done here." I didn't resist, because I had already uploaded everything into a cloud folder Ethan didn't know existed. As they dragged me past the glass-walled office area, I saw coworkers staring. Some looked guilty. Others looked relieved it wasn't them. I caught sight of Maya, quiet assistant, the one who always handed me extra coffee when I worked late. She looked terrified. I mouthed, "Don't." She nodded slightly, like she understood. Outside, they threw my bag on the sidewalk like I was trash. Then the real betrayal hit. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. A calm voice said, "Mr. Parker, this is Davis and Holt Law Group. You need to come now, before Ethan moves the assets." I froze. "Assets?" "Yes," the lawyer said. "Arthur Kessler left you controlling shares through a trust, but Ethan is attempting to drain corporate accounts today." My blood turned cold. Ethan was stealing the company in real time. I ran. But when I arrived at Davis and Holt, the receptionist looked at me like I didn't belong. I wore worn shoes, no tie, no confidence. Then the lawyer, Victor Holt, stepped out. Silver hair, sharp eyes. He didn't smile. He handed me a small brass key. "Arthur told me to give you this the moment Ethan attacked." I stared at the key. "What is it?" Victor's voice lowered. "A safe key. Arthur's private safe in the building. The one Ethan never found." I swallowed. "What's inside?" Victor stared like he was weighing my soul. "The evidence that will destroy Ethan Kessler." I gripped the key so hard it hurt, because suddenly I remembered something. Months ago, when Arthur was still alive, he'd called me into his office when nobody was watching. He'd placed a flash drive in my hand and said, "Liam, if my son ever becomes desperate, he will turn into a monster. You must be ready." Now, Ethan had become exactly that. Victor pointed to a folder. "Today, we go to court for an emergency injunction." I nodded. But my phone buzzed again. A text message. A photo. My mother's house. Then a second text. "Go to court, and she burns." I sat in the courthouse hallway, staring at the photo like it was a loaded gun. Victor Holt spoke quietly. "Liam, Ethan is bluffing." I shook my head. "He's not." Because I knew Ethan. He didn't fight with fists, he fought with systems, with contracts, with loopholes, with people's fear. He would destroy my mother just to prove he still controlled me. Victor leaned closer. "Arthur chose you for a reason." I stared at my hands. Then something inside me hardened. Arthur hadn't chosen me because I was lucky. He chose me because I was careful. I pulled out my old phone, the one I kept hidden, cracked screen, no SIM. It held recordings, audio files, the kind Ethan thought nobody would dare keep. Victor's eyes narrowed. "What is that?" I tapped one file. Ethan's voice filled the air softly. "Transfer the funds through Marion's offshore account. If anyone asks, blame Liam." Victor went still. "Where did you get this?" "I recorded it," I said, "months ago." Victor exhaled slowly. "That's criminal intent on tape." I nodded. "And that's not all." But before I could continue, a court officer approached. "Mr. Parker, the judge will see you." My stomach dropped. Inside the courtroom, Ethan sat with two lawyers and a smug smile. He looked relaxed, confident, like he was already the winner. His eyes met mine and he mouthed, "Clean the floors, nobody." The judge entered. Everyone stood. Victor handed over documents, requesting emergency action to freeze the assets and stop Ethan from moving funds. Ethan's lawyer laughed. Your Honor, this is ridiculous. Liam Parker is a janitor with forged paperwork. We demand immediate dismissal." Ethan leaned toward the judge. "He's trying to steal from my family." The judge stared at me. "Mr. Parker, do you have proof?" I stood slowly. My voice almost failed. Then I remembered my mother. I remembered Arthur's words. I remembered every time Ethan laughed at me. I said clearly, "Yes, Your Honor, I have proof." I pulled out the flash drive. Ethan's smile cracked. His lawyer objected immediately. But the judge raised a hand. "Let him speak." I plugged the flash drive into the courtroom computer. Victor opened a folder labeled Kessler Private Safe. Ethan shot up. "That folder doesn't exist." Victor replied calmly, "It does. Arthur Kessler made sure it did." The screen lit up with scanned deeds, email backups, trust documents, and one file titled DNA Result Final.pdf. Ethan's face turned pale. The judge leaned forward. "What is that?" Ethan whispered, "No," because he knew. If that DNA test became official in court, his entire identity collapsed. Then my phone buzzed again. A live video call. My mother, on her knees, a masked man behind her holding a lighter. Ethan's text appeared. "Close the laptop or she dies." The judge stared at the screen. Ethan stared at my phone, and I stood between two worlds. One click could expose Ethan. One click could kill my mother. My throat tightened, my vision blurred. Victor whispered, "Liam, we can protect her." I shook my head. Not fast enough. Ethan smiled like a demon. He thought he had me again. The quiet janitor, back under his boot. So I did something that surprised even Victor. I turned to the judge and said, "Your Honor, I request a brief recess, 1 minute." Ethan laughed. "He's panicking." The judge hesitated, then nodded. 1 minute. I stepped out with Victor. In the hallway, I answered the video call. My mother's eyes were wide with terror. Her mouth was taped. The masked man spoke. "Drop the case." I looked closely at his wrist. A tattoo. A small black crow. I recognized it instantly, because I'd seen it before, on Ethan's head of security. I said calmly, "You're Brent." The man froze. I continued, voice low, "If you hurt my mother, I release the backup folder to federal investigators, offshore accounts, fraud, tax crimes, and your name is in the ledger." Silence. Then Brent hissed, "You don't have." "I do," I cut in, "and you know I do." Because I wasn't bluffing. I had an accountant ledger too, thanks to Maya. She'd slipped it into my bag last week with one note. "She's draining the company. Please be careful." Brent's breathing got heavier. I said, "Let her go now." He held the lighter closer to her. My mother whimpered. Then I whispered the final dagger. "I also have CCTV footage from the building basement. It shows you taking cash from Ethan. If you become a criminal suspect, you'll go down with him." Brent's hand trembled. Then the camera shook, and suddenly my mother was free, running out the back door. The call ended. I exhaled like my soul returned. Victor stared at me. "How did you do that?" I didn't smile. I listened, I documented, I stayed quiet. We returned to the courtroom. Ethan was still smirking until he saw my face, my calm face, the face of a man no longer trapped. I walked to the stand, and I spoke clearly. "Your Honor, I would like to submit the DNA result and the trust documents prepared by Arthur Kessler, along with an audio recording of Ethan Kessler ordering illegal transfers." Ethan exploded. "Objection! He's lying!" Victor raised his voice. "We request the court play Exhibit A." The judge nodded. The recording played. Ethan's voice filled the courtroom, cold and confident. "Move the money. If anything goes wrong, blame Liam." Gasps erupted. The judge's eyes narrowed. Ethan's lawyers whispered furiously. The judge turned to Ethan. "Mr. Kessler, you will remain seated." Ethan's jaw clenched so hard his cheeks shook. Then he leaned toward me and whispered something I'll never forget. "You think you can win? I'll prove you're not even who you think you are." My blood chilled, because Ethan didn't just mean the company, he meant my identity. Victor leaned in. "What is he talking about?" Before I could answer, Ethan's lawyer stood with a new document. "Your Honor, we submit a counterclaim. There was a second will." The judge frowned. "A second will?" Ethan smiled again, slow and poisonous. "Yes," he said, "and it says Liam Parker is a fraud." Ethan's lawyer walked to the judge like he was delivering a coffin. He handed over a sealed packet. Victor stiffened. "We've never seen that." Ethan's grin widened. "Of course you haven't." The judge opened the packet carefully. Inside was a document labeled Arthur Kessler Final Will, amended. Ethan leaned back, smug. "Read it, Your Honor." The judge scanned the page. "This appears to revoke the prior ownership transfer." Ethan slammed his palm on the table. "Exactly. Liam forged everything. My father left me the company." Then the judge turned the page and froze. I saw it. One detail that made my heart stop. The will had a second page, hidden behind a thin separator, like it had been designed to be missed. The judge's eyes narrowed. "This is unusual." Victor stepped forward. "Your Honor, may we examine?" Ethan barked. "No, it's legitimate." The judge held up the second page. He read out loud, I, Arthur Kessler, declare that Ethan Kessler is not my biological son. Any claim he makes is fraudulent. My true heir has been hidden for years for his protection. Ethan's grin vanished. The judge continued, my true heir is not Liam Parker. Liam Parker is a guardian of evidence, a protector, but not the heir. The courtroom gasped again, this time at me. My throat went dry. Victor whispered, Liam. Ethan let out a sharp laugh. Hear that? He's nothing. He's just a janitor again. But the judge kept reading. My true heir is listed under another name, a name changed legally in childhood, sealed in court records. The judge looked up. This section references a sealed adoption case number. Victor's eyes widened. Ethan's face twisted. I couldn't breathe. Because I had been adopted. I never met my father. My mother always said he died young. But now Arthur Kessler was implying something else entirely. The judge read the final line. To reveal the heir, open the founder's safe and present the birth record inside. Everyone turned toward me. Victor whispered, the safe key. I felt my fingers trembling around the brass key in my pocket. Ethan stared at it too. Then Ethan stood slowly, and for the first time, he looked afraid. Because the safe didn't just hold evidence, it held identity, bloodline, ownership. The judge said, court order, retrieve the safe contents immediately. Ethan's lawyer protested. The judge slammed his gavel. Order granted. Ethan leaned toward me as deputies approached. His voice was quiet now, deadly. If that safe opens, I'm finished. Then he smiled. So I'm not letting it open. At that moment, the courtroom doors burst open. A man in a suit walked in, federal badge on his belt. He pointed at Ethan. Ethan Kessler, you are under investigation for corporate fraud, wire transfers, and identity manipulation. Ethan's face went white, and the agent turned to me. Liam Parker, you're coming with us too. The FBI office smelled like metal and cold coffee. I sat in a room with a two-way mirror, watching my life twist into something bigger than revenge. Agent Rivera placed a file on the table. Liam Parker, she said, we know you've been collecting evidence for months. I kept my voice calm. Yes. She leaned forward. We also know Ethan Kessler's team is trying to frame you. My stomach tightened. How? She slid a photo toward me. It showed a fake signature, my signature, on a withdrawal order. $2 million. I stared. That's not mine. Rivera nodded. We know, but Ethan's accountant is willing to swear it is. Then she revealed the real punch. Ethan's people already reported you. They claim you stole company files and attempted to flee. I exhaled slowly. Ethan was building his final trap. Rivera added, and the safe? Ethan bribed building security. The safe may already be tampered with. My blood ran cold. If the safe was destroyed, the truth dies. Arthur's plan dies. My chance dies. Rivera continued, you have one advantage. I looked up. She tapped the file. You're quiet. You're smart. You documented everything. We want your cooperation. I nodded. Tell me what you need. That night, Maya called me. Her voice was shaking. Liam, he's doing it. Doing what? They're in the basement. Ethan, Brent, the accountant, they're trying to open the safe. I closed my eyes. This was the moment. The founder's safe held everything. The DNA, the trust, the birth record. If Ethan opened it first, he could rewrite history. I whispered, Maya, stay hidden. Don't expose yourself. I can't, she said. He'll kill the truth. I said, send me the CCTV feed. Maya hesitated, then, okay. 30 seconds later, my phone received a secure link, CCTV footage. Basement hallway, Ethan in a suit, furious, Brent holding a crowbar, the accountant sweating, and then Ethan looked directly at the camera and said, tonight, Liam Parker becomes the thief. Rivera watched the footage over my shoulder. Her voice turned hard. "That's conspiracy." I nodded. Rivera grabbed her radio. "Move in, now." We rushed back to the building, lights flashing, unmarked cars sliding into shadows. But when we reached the basement door, it was already open, and the safe was gone. An empty square in the wall, only scraped concrete remained. My chest dropped. Rivera cursed quietly. Then I saw something on the floor, a small torn paper corner, Arthur Kessler's handwriting, one word visible: hair. I picked it up with shaking hands, because Ethan didn't just steal the safe, he stole the truth. By morning, news exploded. Kessler Dynamics scandal, CEO under federal investigation, janitor accused of fraud. Ethan went on TV. He stood at a podium, pretending to be innocent, and said, "Ian Parker manipulated my grieving family. He forged my father's will." He was brilliant. If I looked guilty, Ethan looked like a victim. The board scheduled an emergency meeting, not in the office, in a private legal conference center. Too many eyes were watching. Victor Holt sat beside me, calm and sharp. Maya sat behind, pale but steady. Ethan walked in wearing a dark suit like armor. He gave the room a fake smile. "Good to see you all." Then he looked at me. "Especially you, Liam, still cleaning floors?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Victor stood. "We request to present evidence." Ethan's lawyer scoffed. "Here we go again." Victor clicked the projector. The screen lit up. First, the email chain backup. It showed Ethan ordering illegal transfers. Second, the accountant ledger. It listed offshore accounts tied to Marion Kessler. Third, the audio recording. Ethan's voice, clear as glass. "Blame Liam." Board members went pale. Ethan slammed the table. "It's edited." Victor nodded. "Then we request verification." He turned to the board chair. "Forensic ink test. Digital audio verification. Court admissible." Ethan's jaw twitched. Then I did the final move. I pulled out a small USB flash drive. Not the same one, a second one. Ethan's eyes widened. "What is that?" I said quietly, "The backup Ethan doesn't know about." Victor played the file. CCTV footage, basement camera. Ethan stealing the safe. Ethan turning to the camera saying, "Tonight, Liam Parker becomes the thief." The room erupted. The board chair stood. "Ethan, you staged this?" Ethan's face turned purple. "You can't prove." Victor pointed. "We can. Timestamp, metadata, verified." Ethan's lawyer whispered urgently. Ethan shoved him away. Ethan turned to me, eyes burning. "You're dead." I leaned forward, calm as ice. "You didn't destroy me when you made me clean floors," I said. "You trained me." Ethan pulled out his phone, smiled. Then he said something that made the room go silent. "You want the safe? Fine. I already opened it." My heart stopped. He continued, "And guess what I found inside?" He tapped his phone. A scanned paper appeared on the big screen. A birth certificate, with a name I had never seen before, and a father's name that matched the founder himself, Arthur Kessler. The room froze. Ethan whispered, "You're not the owner, Liam." He smiled. "You're Arthur's son." The room felt like it lost oxygen. Victor Holt's face changed. Not surprise, not confusion, fear. The board chair stammered, "That can't be." Ethan laughed. "It can." The safe had sealed adoption records. Arthur Kessler hid his real heir in plain sight, as a janitor. My hands were numb. I looked at Victor. "You knew?" Victor's eyes flickered away. That was all the answer I needed. My stomach sank. Victor Holt, the man who guided me, the man who claimed Arthur trusted him, had been hiding something. Ethan leaned forward. "Ask him, Liam. Ask him why you were never told." I turned fully to Victor. Did you know my father was Arthur? Victor swallowed. I suspected. That's not an answer. Victor's voice cracked. Arthur made me swear secrecy until the safe opened in court. Ethan clapped slowly. Beautiful story, but here's the truth. He tapped his phone again. Another file appeared. An email thread from Victor Holt to Ethan Kessler. Subject line, safe location confirmed. My blood froze. Maya gasped behind me. Victor stood up. That's forged. Ethan's smile widened. Is it, or did you sell the truth to the highest bidder? The board members began murmuring. The chair turned. Victor, explain. Victor's hand shook. He looked at me like he wanted forgiveness. I felt something inside me snap. All my life, people played chess with me. Now I realized. Victor wasn't my ally. He was my handler. He wanted me close enough to control. Ethan stood. Ladies and gentlemen, Ethan is unstable. He was manipulated. The company needs strong leadership. I stared at the email on the screen. Then I remembered something. Arthur had taught me to never trust one copy. I pulled out my phone, opened a folder. Victor, I said quietly, you forgot one thing. Victor blinked. I clicked play. A recording. Victor's voice. I gave Ethan the safe location because Arthur told me to. It's bait. Once Ethan steals it, he proves guilt. Then Liam takes everything. The room erupted. Victor's eyes went wide. He whispered, Liam, stop. But I didn't. I turned to the board. Victor wasn't betraying me. He was running Arthur's final trap. Ethan's smile died, because now the truth was clear. Ethan had stolen the safe. Ethan had exposed himself, and now every federal charge could stick. Agent Rivera walked in with 2 officers. Ethan Kessler, you're under arrest. Ethan backed up. No, no! He turned toward me like a cornered animal. I'll burn everything before I let you own it. He reached into his coat and pulled out a lighter. Ethan's lighter clicked. A tiny flame danced above his thumb like a warning. In his other hand, Arthur's original documents, freshly pulled from a folder he carried like a trophy. The birth record, the trust, the signature page, the proof that made me the rightful owner. Agent Rivera stepped forward. Drop it, Ethan. Ethan laughed through clenched teeth. You don't get it. If I can't have it, nobody does. My chest tightened. Not because of money, but because of truth. My whole life had been built on a lie my mother carried to protect me. Arthur Kessler wasn't just my boss's father. He was my father, and I cleaned floors in my own company while Ethan sat on my chair. I took one step forward. Ethan, I said calmly, you're already finished. He spat. I'm not finished until you're nothing. Then Maya did something brave. She stepped between us. Ethan, she whispered, voice shaking, please stop. Ethan hesitated. That single pause was enough. Rivera's officer lunged and tackled him. The lighter flew. Documents scattered. I dove forward, catching the folder like it was a falling child. The flame died on the carpet. Ethan screamed in rage, his cuffs snapped on his wrists. The board members stood frozen, watching their golden boy become a criminal. Rivera turned to me. Liam Kessler, your identity is now confirmed through court-sealed records. The trust is legitimate. She looked at the board chair. This company belongs to him. The chair's voice trembled. Mr. Kessler, I apologize. I didn't need apologies. I needed change. 3 weeks later, the courtroom was packed again. This time, Ethan stood in shackles. The judge read the verdict. Fraud, embezzlement, identity manipulation, kidnapping threats. Ethan's lawyers looked defeated. Marion Kessler, Ethan's mother, was exposed too, tied to offshore accounts. The judge ordered seizure of assets. And then the judge looked up. Ownership of Kessler Dynamics is transferred to Liam Kessler. I froze again, not from fear, from the weight of it. After the hearing, I walked into the company building in silence. Same hallways, same portrait of Arthur Kessler. But now, it felt like he was finally at peace. I passed the janitor's closet, the mop bucket, the floor I once scrubbed while executives laughed, and I smiled just once, because karma had finished its work. They called me nobody until the judge read my name. Never underestimate the quiet man. Karma does not forget.